Alright, let's try the next set of Khan Academy problems, which is similar to the last one, except for this time we may see fractions. Alright, so the title is called Rates with Fractions. But you'll see that the math is very similar, just some fractions involved. So let's read it. Emmanuel was charged $32 for a 14 2/9 kilometer taxi ride. What was the cost per kilometer? Okay, so first thing that I would do is to convert this mixed number into a fraction, an improper fraction, because that's going to make it much easier to work with. So I'm going to convert this, and the way you do that is multiply 14 times 9 and then add 2. So what you wind up with is 128 over 9 for that number there. So we're going to cross that out and use that improper fraction instead. And again, you get that by doing 14 times 9 plus 2. Alright, so now let's set up our proportion. So what do we have in our problem? We have dollars, so $32, and kilometers for a 128 over 9 kilometer taxi ride. Okay. So this looks super funky because you've got sort of a fraction within a fraction. But remember, you're thinking about this more as a ratio. So this is ratio of dollars to kilometers for this taxi ride. Alright, so $32 gets you 128 over 9 kilometers. And I could turn this into a decimal. Lots of you like to do that. But when you do, you'll see that you get a repeating decimal. So it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky to work with the repeating decimal in this way, so we're going to have to leave it as a fraction. So what's our equivalent ratio going to look like? So the question is, what's the cost per kilometer? So per means 1 per 1 kilometer. And we want to know how much that cost is. So I have kilometer on bottom over here. So I'm going to have kilometer on bottom on the right side. I have dollars on top on the left. So I want dollars on top on the right because we're looking for cost. The cost is the unknown here. So that's our proportion. That's what it looks like. Now to solve, we're going to do our cross multiplication. Alright, so 32 times 1 is 32. And then we have 128 over 9 times x. 128 over 9 times x. Alright, so that looks funky again, but you can handle it. You know how to divide fractions. That's all this is. I mean, you know how to multiply fractions, and we'll need to divide. This is 128 over 9 times x. Alright, so to get x by itself, which is what we're trying to do because we're trying to solve for x, we need to divide here. So we need to divide by 128 over 9. Those cancel out. You do the same thing over here. So I got x by itself over here. Now I needed to divide by 128 over 9. Okay, so how do we do that? We should be really good at working with fractions now because we do it twice a week in TC. So let's rewrite it like this. 32 divided by 128 over 9. And we know that that means the same thing as, going over here now, 32 times 9 over 128. Alright, all I did there was keep flip change. Okay, so this over here, 32 divided by 128 over 9 means the same thing as 32 over 1 times 9 over 128. I kept this the same, changed this from divide to multiply, and flipped the fraction. Alright, so now all you have to do is multiply across. So when I do 32 times 9, I get 288. 288 over 1 times 128 is just 128. Alright, so that's my answer. 288 divided by, or over, 128. That is my answer. However, you need to think about what your answer means in the context of the problem. Because the question is asking here, what's the cost per kilometer? So this wouldn't make sense as a cost. You don't go to the store and pay them 288 over 128. It doesn't make sense in a dollars and cents sort of way. So you want to think, how can I turn this number into a dollar amount? So what you do is make it a decimal, because dollars and cents are expressed in decimals. Alright, so to turn this into a decimal, you just divide the top number by the bottom number. 288 divided by 128. And what you get when you do that math, let me double check that I'm correct here, 288 divided by 128 is $2.25. 288 divided by 128 is 2.25, which equals $2.25.